you're talking about what fees you have to pay up front, outside of the traditional down payment as well as your closing costs when purchasing a home. In the state of Georgia, we do earnest money right out the gate. Typically, it's due within like 2 to 4, 3 to 5 days. It's whatever is negotiated on the contract. Most of the time, if we're not going into a weekend, we try to stick to the 3-day mark so we get that money over to the seller. Essentially, what earnest money is it is you giving a good faith offering that is allowing the seller to take the property off the market for you to do your inspections during your due diligence. Right now, we're looking at 5 to 7 days due diligence. I just did one that was a 10-day due diligence. This is really all dependent on what's negotiated in the contract. A lot of times you will see shorter due diligence periods and quicker, hey, we're going to get the earnest money to you periods, if you're trying to be a little bit more competitive. However, these are typically, what you're looking at, 3 days to get earnest money in, up to 7 days to do due diligence. During your due diligence period, you can do all of the inspections. You can have a general inspector come out. You can do specified inspections, water testing for wells, etc. The earnest money itself is typically given to and being held in escrow by the closing attorney that is also negotiated on the contract. Now, the way that works is you can wire it, you can send a check, you can, there's a couple different ways that you can pay it. But that amount is typically 0.5% to 1% of the offer price. I have seen $10,000. I have seen $200. It really just depends on what you're trying to do with the offer, how strong your offer is. If you need your offer to be super strong because it's a competitive home that you got a lot of people that are interested in. So that's kind of a really good negotiating tactic, is to be able to use that earnest money amount. Because what happens is during your due diligence period, this money is sent over to the closing attorney typically. They're going to hold it while you do your inspections. If within the time that you are doing your inspections, you decide something isn't right, inspection comes back bad, or you just decide you need to get out of the contract, if you're within due diligence, you as the buyer get those funds back. However, if you go outside of due diligence and you don't have another contingency that kicks out the contract and you decide to back out as the buyer, then that is a dollar amount that the seller gets to keep as their concession for keeping the house off the market for you to do your due diligence. Now, at the same time, that inspection fee, if you are getting an inspection, which I highly recommend, always get the inspection. If you were getting an inspection, they range, and I mean, they can be up to the thousands, but the guy that I usually suggest, I would say under 3,000 square foot, is under $500 typically. And he spends about 3.5 hours on the property and does a very thorough job. Now, there are ones that cost a little less. There are ones that spend less time if you just want to know what the big stuff is. So there are options there as well, if cost is a concern and you need to lower your cost a little bit on what that inspection is going to cost. However, you pay the inspection fee directly to the inspector. That does not go to anybody. It is just a service that you are asking to have provided to you, and you are paying for that service to the person that provided it. Both of these things are done typically within the first week unless there's some anomaly. Those are going to be two expenses that you can expect right up front that you need to be able to pay for. Now, as far as an appraisal fee, typically it is paid up front and then it is credited on the back end when you go to closing. You will see on the balance sheet, the CD, the Alta, whatever your people are calling it, it is the sheet that tells you what the seller's paying, what the buyer's paying, debits, credits. It breaks down all the numbers. So you will see this on the back end on there, but you're not double paying it. You're paying it up front. However, for VA loans, they actually do not pay it up front, but that can be an additional up to $600-700. Ours, I think, was like $550. It really just depends. You can talk to your lender and get a really good idea as to what that potential cost could be. Typically, they can give you a good idea up front before you even make an offer on the property. This is normally done within the first 2 weeks. So the first week you have your earnest money and your inspection money, and then typically by the second or third week, you've got that appraisal fee unless you are VA. So I hope this helps. My name is Morgan with Morgan Rountree Realty. I help people buy and sell all up and down the east coast of Georgia. And I don't know if you can hear the wind today, but it is The breeze is here on the coast, and I don't think it's going anywhere, and I'm not going to complain about it. So if you need help with anything, if you have any questions, if you need quotes on things like this to get you prepared as to what you financially need to be ready for, give me a call, give me a text, email me, go to my website, whatever's going to be easiest for you. Everything is linked here, or you can head over to my YouTube channel and get some more additional information on how this whole process works.